What is up, everybody? Want to kind of highlight this deal, and highlight Aaron Goldstein here, who just recently got on Resell Deck. It took me forever to convince him, um, but he trusted me on Google Ads, and it took a little bit longer for him to trust me on the software. But that's okay. I will wait out a long time to win somebody's business. So, but I want to number one, dude. I want to ask you before we get into like all the deals you've done with Resell Deck and everything it's helped you with. Um, what was your initial like? What stopped you from using it? Like, because you had heard me talk about it and everything. Like, what was your like initial thing there upon me telling you about it, and why didn't you move forward at that time, right?
I'm making good money already. I got into this business before you. What does Chris know? Chris sits behind the computer and I go out here. I mean, I know you pick up items too, but I'm out here picking up my ego. It was basically my ego, Chris, and me not willing, wanting to open my eyes to possibly other things.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So let's talk about this laptop deal. I know a lot of people in the group are really curious about it. You're getting a ton of questions, you're getting a lot of hate, which is we that's what we have in this business. When we're winning, we get the hate. That's what happens. When you start making $1,000, $2,000 a week because you know what you're doing, people start to shit on it, right? They're like, no, this is fake. This is not real. Like a lot of people can't comprehend making more outside of their job, because that's all they've ever done, right? But this reselling game is a real thing. So let's talk about this. We set you up on Resell Deck probably 2 months ago now. Got everything. Maybe it was a little less than that. Got everything, set up for the Google Ads. Got everything working so that you got messages, connected everything, and then I subtly mentioned to you that, oh yeah, there's this little chatbot thing here if you want to add it to your website or whatever. And so for those of you who don't know, it's just a basic chatbot that just kind of answers some questions and then hands it off to Aaron. It's not something that negotiates your leads or anything like that. So let's talk about that, man. Going from there, what was your initial like startup with everything? I'm just gonna let you talk now about the deal, actually.
Specifically about the laptop
Yeah,
deal.
let's talk about the deal. I know nobody cares about specifics.
So it was a normal lead. Came through just like any other normal lead. Came through on the Resell Deck app thingy. And he said he didn't. And I posted some of the screenshots, of course, in your group. The guy told me the item he had. And this is an item, as we know, sometimes direct buyers will buy certain items, and they're great. I sell a lot of items to direct buyers, but then there's some items direct buyers don't buy. So this was one of those items that was kind of the ThinkPad. So it's kind of one of those odder-ish items that direct buyers, at least the ones that I know, don't buy. I went to eBay, saw how much it went for, and in my experience, in my area, it's fairly competitive for like iPhones, Apple products, stuff like this. But some of these odder items like ThinkPads, and I bought a OnePlus open phone, some phone, some of these like
Yeah.
higher end items that are not like Apple, these other direct buyers don't buy. So once the guy told me it was a ThinkPad, my initial response was, all right, I'm going to send this guy a lower bowl offer than I normally would. And I sent him a pretty low ball offer. They sell retail for like $2,000, and I sent him an offer for $280.
Okay. Yeah, that's so in our world, just so you guys know, whenever you get something in like a ThinkPad, it's a laptop, basically. I lowball the absolute hell out of these people. The reason for it is they don't sell well most of the time. Let's be real. They just don't. Kind of like Samsungs, actually. Like you gotta go a little bit lower than what you usually see, because I always expect them to sell actually about 20% lower. So the low ball there is massive low ball on your part. But it makes sense though. You never know.
Agreed. So I make him the offer. And I made the offer just like I teach in my script, which is basically I don't justify it. It's just making the offer. It's I can give you $280 for it. He comes back and was like, he says something. He obviously didn't accept it. Comes back and he's like, oh, could you do, could you do like 300 or something? Or he said he's got a bunch of them. He wanted more. And basically, pretty quickly, we agreed that he was going to sell me 5 of them for $1,500. So this is $300 per one for 5. I said, okay. We met up in person and all the boxes were sealed. I opened up one of the boxes and I turned the item on. Went through the whole setup. I wanted to make sure it wasn't MDM locked, which could be something, right? If they're for a company, basically it means it's got a remote, it's just some lock. Even at that price, by the way, I could still buy it and still sell it on eBay, but wanted to make sure there's no issues with it. There weren't any issues with it, super calm. I mean, so after like maybe 45 minutes, I bought the items from him. He told me he had 22 more. So we're talking. He's like, yeah, by the way, I got 22 more of these. Or I said, you got any more of these? I'm always probing. He goes, yeah, I got some more.
Course, yeah.
So after I gave him the initial money and we kind of built the relationship, because I was there for 45 minutes, I'm checking up the item very carefully.
Absolutely, yeah. Making sure they're not, whatever.
Right.
I'd be opening every freaking box. I've done that on phones. Like somebody shows up with 4 or 5 phones, I'm opening every single box. I don't care.
And that's good. That's the smart way to do it. So I gave him the money. He kind of said, you said you got some more of these, right? And he looks at me, he said something like, yeah, I got like 22 more of these. I said, all sealed? He's like, all the exact same ones, all sealed. I said, I'd like to buy these from you. Now, I'm always trying to negotiate, Chris. I said, if I buy all of them from you, would you do it at a different price? Would you do it at a cheaper price? He's like, yeah, let's text. We'll figure something out. So anyway, I said, I'd like to probably buy these from you tomorrow. I could probably buy all of them from you tomorrow. So I get home and I start messaging. He actually messaged me. He goes, so for all of them, I could do $5,700 for the other 22, which makes it like $270 a piece. He goes, I think that's fair. And I said, I said, you seem like a fair person. That's a line I like to send a lot. I was thinking a little bit lower than that. I think I said I was thinking 5,500, but 5,700 sounds fine. You seem like a good guy or a fair person. That's kind of a line I like to use a lot to kind of make it seem like, because people, this comes from a book that I read, like No More Mr. Nice Guy, where guys have like the subconscious belief that if they're good guys, everything will work out. So when I use that line to people, I think it kind of resonates with them like deeply. They're like, yeah, I am a good guy. That's just true.
Yeah.
Sent it to him and I said something like, would you be around to meet today? I'll be around for the next few hours. He said, sure. And we basically agreed to meet again. He got all the items, put them in the back of his truck. And then we met up. I opened up some of the items and then I bought the rest of them from him. And that was that. Went home, I listed them on eBay. And I mean, the rest is history. They all sold in about 2 days. And then eBay sent payouts in full about 2 days later.
Awesome. So I want to respond to some of the. Do you want to respond to some of the hate that we've gotten in the group?
Sure.
It's not totally understandable. There was a lot of questions, and I think that actually might put in some good stuff here. Let's see here. Ernesto says, you didn't make anything until you sell, my dude. What do you say to that, Aaron?
I mean, technically, he's right. You don't make anything, I would say, till you sell, and then you get the money, right? Because you could even sell on eBay, and if you have a newerish account, eBay could hold it. But generally, what I learned from our mentor, David, is that you make money when you buy, because if it's an item, if we buy it at the correct price, we know it's going to sell, right? I mean, I just picked up, it was a small little run. I picked up 3 items right before I came home to do this call with you. So we know these are going to sell at a certain price. So we can be pretty confident that it's going to sell. And sometimes, like I'll post what the exact profit because I'm selling it to a direct buyer who I know the exact profit they're paying on. But other times I'll post, hey, this is around what I'm going to make. I made around, X amount of dollars on it because it's kind of a guesstimate. But the more you do it, I've been doing this for about 6 years. And you talk to anyone else. I mean, we've had a lot of people that have joined the program that are now making, $500, $5,000, $10,000 plus a month in profit. You do it for 6 months or a year, it's kind of like you get pretty good at being able to get a general guess of what you're going to sell for.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, being able to, we just had that call in the 5-day challenge. Like, you have to know how to appraise before you buy. That's also very common in house flipping too. Like, you need to understand like what the local appraisal or whatever is before buying. So the money technically is made when you buy, but the money is made when you sell. So, I do love that. So, so that's how the deal went. I mean, it's simple, right? Lead came in, answered the lead, talked to the lead, verified, purchased, sold, and won. There we go. That just kind of answered everybody's questions on that one. Let's move on to let's move to Resell Deck a little bit though. Now that we've answered that question that everybody's been begging about in the group. Since you've implemented it, has it helped your business? Are you making more money? Are you following up with your leads better? What's been the main change there?
The main change with Resell Deck. And I guess before I do, just let me say 20 seconds about the big deal.
Yeah,
that was obviously, there wasn't anything special I did. It was just a lead.
Oh, yeah.
I've talked to tens of thousands of leads. And normally it's kind of, these two I picked up earlier today came from a new lead. These are maybe 60, 70 bucks profit each. This one I paid 70 bucks. It's probably 150 bucks profit. That's more common. It's a gazillion times more common, to have these one-offs like these. But if you do get kind of one of these winners every now and then, there's nothing wrong with that either, and it feels nice. It's a nice stack of money.
I mean, so that's a good point too, right? Like that just comes with, what is that, 1 out of 1,000 conversations that's going to happen, right? Like if not more. I still remember like one of my biggest deals, MacBook. I made $1,900 in profit off of the one flip, right? Like that is those types of deals are few and far in between, but they still happen when you do the right stuff every day, right? If you continue to just do the right things every single day, those deals are going to come along, and that's just how it works. Like the more people you get in front of, the better you do, and that's just kind of how the game works. So, get out there and play the game, guys. If you play the game, you learn how to win in the game, and if you rack up enough wins, you just kind of keep winning over and over. And then sometimes it just you get these huge deals that I mean, a lot of people buy 100 sealed phones at a time. Like that's a thing. So not something that comes very common, right? But yeah, let's move on to Resell Deck and how it's kind of, I guess, probably centralized your business a little bit better.
What are the benefits on it? Well, I guess if we include Google ads, would Google ads be included with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the same. I mean, the whole system is the same, right? And that's pretty much we use Resell Deck to set up Google ads. Google ads wouldn't be a thing without Resell Deck, right? You need a pencil, buddy? Sorry, my son just woke.
That's fine.
So yeah, Google ads never would have been a thing if I hadn't figured out Resell Deck and got that to work. And therefore you would have probably never figured out Google ads. It took me, I was working, back on Google ads with Dave, actually.
Shit.
Like that long ago. And like, I remember we just kept trying and giving up. And then he obviously, kind of retired from doing it. And I just kind of kept pounding the pavement on it and eventually got some stuff to work. And then the biggest problem was getting it to work for other people. That was the hard part in a simplified way. So let's talk about Google ads for a second. Google ads are basically all you run at this point when it comes to advertising, right?
So I love Google ads, and I bought your program specifically for Google ads. I had, of course, already knew how to negotiate and appraise items and all this stuff, but the main reason was Google ads because I took it a few years off, and you said that was the main way people are getting leads now. The older way, as we know, is not that effective. And Google ads have been great. I love Google ads. I'm probably getting, I know we looked and I think it was 3 to 4 calls a day for free now from Google, but I get text messages too that people don't call. My guess is I'm probably getting 5 to 7 leads a day for free, maybe 5 to 6 leads a day for free from Google. I mean, I wake up sometimes and it's like, sometimes it's like a dozen leads that have come in.
Yeah.
And that's just waking up, and then throughout the day. I mean, I've had some days it's like maybe 20 leads total. And some of them come from the paid ads, but we know there's a good amount coming. So I love Google leads because in my experience, they're the highest quality. Because if someone is going to go to Google and they're thinking, okay, I got this phone right here, I want to sell it. And they go to Google and they type in sell Samsung near me. Someone that does that, their intention, their desire to sell it is very, very strong because they're taking action to begin. It's not like they're passively scrolling on Craigslist or Facebook. They're proactively taking action to try to sell it. So in my experience, these leads, they respond very quickly. They're very motivated. I get a good amount of them to drive to me. I had yesterday a brand new lead. I'm gonna make about $200 in profit on. Drove like 35 minutes to me, accepted. No, I came up $20 in profit, but very quickly. So I love Google for the quality of the leads and how you can build the free leads kind of into it. So Google leads have been fantastic. And that's really where I started like really respecting you a lot, probably because of like, okay, Chris gave me something that really, really helped my business and really worked. So that's probably where my ego was like, all right, let me listen to Chris a little bit more. If I'm making this much money listening to Chris, let's see what else Chris has.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I mean, whenever I finally cracked it and started getting the Google leads, I was like, this is the stuff. Like these are the leads that I want right here. And you're probably seeing this now, where you're probably getting at least the same amount from Google My Business as you are from the ads as well, which is huge. Once the Google My Business leads start rolling in, I mean, it's game over at that point. Like those are free as they can be. And I mean, I was just looking at your Resell Deck account. There's a waterfall of Google, just the Google My Business logo, and so it doesn't, and that's the beauty of building Google out there too. Not to say Facebook ads are terrible. I did my very first $10,000 profit month off of Facebook ads alone, right? But Google just brings more to the table, really. Now, the only problem with Google is it takes a little bit longer. That's the only problem with it, right? I mean, I think you started getting a couple of leads right away. It's probably 1 or 2 trickling in, right, Aaron? And then over time, it just kept building. And that's one thing I love about Google is like it builds upon itself, which is really cool. And Google learns by itself too. So like once it understands what the conversion is and what type of person's clicking on the ad, it actually kind of help adjust itself a little bit. Now you might have to go in there every now and then. I think you're still running the same exact campaign we set up, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So see there it is right there. So it just builds upon itself over time. But it does take longer. So it's one of those things where it's delayed gratification a little bit, right? But you can still get leads pretty quickly. So we talked about Google ads. Let's talk about Resell Deck. So Resell Deck has obviously had a couple of improvements lately. And I think I made a couple of them on your account. So far, obviously, I think you said your favorite thing is like just having all of your leads in one place. Is that one of your
besides Google benefits? Having them all in one place, I love it. because you can have, the chatbot, which is where that
Mhm.
laptop thing came from. On Google, you can have a thing, in the Google My Business, it says message this company. That comes through the same place. I obviously don't run Facebook ads anymore, but if I did, they'd come. So I like it. It's all one place. It kind of makes it organized. So I love that. And then I recently, of course, started using your follow-up sequence too.
Yeah.
So I just like the idea of that. It seems I haven't had,
You're going to make money from it later on. Trust me.
yeah, it's so now it's very, I'm on it. And all the old leads I had a VA go through. We got like 400 something leads and I uploaded it in a document. So those are getting followed up as well.
Yeah. I mean, the follow up, that was the very first thing I built in Resell Deck, right? Like that was the very first thing that was even offered. Because I knew how important following up was. Whenever I started realizing that 60 and 70% of my entire business was repeat customers. Like that's huge, right? And then I went on to teach Tyler and Hunter that, and we built the same thing in for them. They were the very first customers of Resell Deck, and the same thing happened for them. The follow up sequence just simply generated the same leads over and over again, and we all know that's a lot easier to buy from somebody you've already purchased from than to buy from a new lead. You don't have to negotiate nearly as much. So that's one of the biggest parts of that is being able to consistently keep the leads, because everybody wants more leads. But how many of you phone flippers are actually able to keep leads? Most of you can't. Let's just be real. Another thing that you started doing recently was getting a lot of reviews.
Yes.
How's that been going?
That's really good. It continues to help boost the Google My Business and basically get the free leads. So I love that. And I should have listened to you earlier on. I tried to because sometimes I black hat stuff. So I tried to buy all these fake reviews and they would fall off. And I think it seemed like my listing wouldn't show, probably because they weren't coming from the, wrong IP, or maybe they were using a VPN, but it was like 20 reviews from the same IP on the VPN. So basically about 6 months ago, I said, all right, let me just listen to Chris. And I just started to get everyone to give me reviews now. And it's nice. I got like maybe 91 reviews. And the crazy thing is, I didn't even need to get that many reviews to start like really getting it ranked. I think when I was like at 30 or 40 reviews, I started getting like a fair amount of free leads. And I'm in a fairly competitive area. I've done calls with some of your students and we look, and it's like, if you type in like sell iPhone near me, it's like 2 or 3, they got like 2 reviews and 4 reviews. I'm like, man, you can just crush it here.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing we love to point out is like, let's be real. There's not many phone flippers that are on Google My Business. There's a lot of repair shop owners, but there are no we buy phones people on Google. So guys, if you guys are watching, this is a massive opportunity for you to get on Google right now. It is a little bit difficult to get on Google now, not as easy as it used to be, but that's good. I think Aaron's having a little bit of trouble getting a second one right now.
But yes, I'm submitting stuff right now. They want some pictures and some documents.
Yeah. So,
but I'll figure it out.
But once you get through that initial part of it, you have gone further than most phone flippers will. And that's a game changer. Most people don't realize that. Every time I see a problem, all I see now is money. That's it. Right? Because I know if there's a problem, 90% of the other people they're not going to try and solve it. So great. Good for me, So outside of that stuff, is there anything else you like about Resell Deck that has made things easier for you? Obviously, the app probably makes things easy. The lead connector app.
Yeah, because it's on your phone. I don't know if I've experimented with everything yet, but it's kind of nice. So far it's good. And there's definitely more benefits to it than not. So I'm very happy with it. It's kind of an odd thing, I guess, in the beginning. It's like, why do you need an app? But also the way, if we're going to treat this like a business, we're going to run into problems. We're going to have to solve stuff. So having a software, and then, if you have problems getting through Google My Business, I know you have SOP, you have processes in place to help people get through it. So I'm using that to get working on my second account now. It's totally fine. I mean, it's it's totally fine. There's no complaints at all.
So it's kind of interesting, right? Like a lot of phone flippers will reach out and they'll be like, "Why do I need a software?" Right? And I still remember whenever we first initially launched Resell Deck back in 2020, it absolutely bombed. Like the whole thing bombed. The market wasn't ready for it. Like as a phone flipper, you are thinking like what you just said. Why do I need a software to do this? Like that just doesn't make sense. But like, why does it make sense now? In your mind, why would it make sense now?
I guess it's kind of like the next level. More
Oh,
people are doing this. And
yeah.
maybe it's a bit more competitive than it was before. So it's kind of like you're staying ahead and you're staying at the top of the game. Now you definitely don't need it. I mean, no one really needs anything. Like I don't need it, but it keeps everything in one place. If I were to get some automated thing to follow up, I'd have to get some separate software. I could probably get some other software that combines it, but if I'm going to pay for all of it separately, it just kind of just a little bit smoother, in my opinion. It just kind of makes it a little bit easier. Right.
Muted myself. I actually tallied up the cost of all the different tools you would need, and it came up to like $600 to $900 depending on which tiers you got. I mean, and some phone flippers actually pay that per month, where with Resell Deck it's like 197 or 97. Or if you join Resellerator, obviously that's more. But yeah, so happy to hear it, man. Is there anything that you'd say out there to the people that a lot of people they say they want to be doing the numbers that you want to be doing or numbers that you are doing? What would you say to those guys that want to be doing the same numbers that you're doing? I think you're doing what's your average a month right now in profit?
Probably 12, 15 grand a month profit, roughly right around there.
Yeah, just on average. Yeah. So what would you say to the guys that want to get to that point? Like what are the things that you do? Or what was the come up?
So one of the things is the importance of, for me, just being consistent. When I got started, I bought that original program from David, which of course is, not around anymore. But I bought it because I knew that, okay, and Alex Ramosi talks about it. He'd rather pay for someone for their time to skip the learning curve. So I believe, well, we know that success is just, we got to figure out what actions to take because there's all these little details. So I rather just pay someone so I don't have to pay, just like I paid you. I could try to mess around with Google My Business, but I could just show you how to set it up correctly. And then once you have that, once you kind of have, okay, you have a proven to follow, that if you follow this process, this is the right way to do it. The big thing for me was just being consistent. When I got started in the business, I remember I bought the program. I went through training and it said to post these ads. And I remember thinking, I could do this better. I know Grant Cardone. I could post these ads better. And I said, actually, let me just do it the way he does it. Let me do it the way it says in the program, because maybe there's some small details that I don't understand yet that make the way these ads are posted better. So I just did it exactly how the program said. And when I started posting the ads, there was like 15 competitors in my area. And I remember thinking, I'm not going to be able to compete up against these guys. Because some of these guys had like 10, 15 ads, really established. So how could I compete up against them? But I just did it anyway. I posted the ads anyway. Then the next day, I actually got a phone call. I picked it up. I did exactly what the program said as far as figuring out how much an item goes for on eBay. Was I worried that I might have made a mistake? Yes. Was I worried that it was going to work or might not work? Yes. But I did what they said to figure out how much it would sell for. I made an offer. She accepted it. We met up at Denny's. I went home. I listed those items on eBay and they both sold that day and I made like $80 each. So I made like $160 profit within 24 hours. And then I had all these fears about the business. Like a big fear I had in the beginning is when someone would accept the offer and I'd go to meet up with them, I would think the offer is too good to be true, right? This person just accepted the offer. And if I buy the item, I'm going to make $80 profit. I didn't believe it was possible for me to make money that easily. So I knew with 100% certainty, it's going to be iCloud locked. The item is going to be cracked. They're not going to show up. There's going to be some issue. But I'd go meet up with them. They'd show up on time. It'd be exactly what they said it was. It was a smooth transaction. I just made $80. So a lot of it was just the fear and the concerns and the uncertainty, and me taking the action anyway, regardless of the fact that I was nervous, I was afraid, and that I didn't think it would work out. And I just did that over a period of time. And by doing that, my skills got better. The first week, I made like $500 in profit, right? In my experience, when I train people and I see them, it usually takes them 3 to 6 months, the people that are in your program. So even though they have all the tools and they have all the processes and everything's the best, it still takes a good for them to kind of get the feel of it, the flow of it, for them to build their skills. Because the business doesn't become easier. They just become better. They just become better from the actions they take, the skills they've developed, and the consistency and the discipline that they have. So I would say it's just sticking to it for a period of time. I've never seen anyone like their first month make $10,000 the first month. It's always a grind, but if they stay consistent and they do it for a good 6 months plus, that's when they start hitting those pretty good, crazy numbers.
Totally agree with that. I couldn't have said that better myself. It's always the consistent actions that always lead up to everything. A lot of people, for some reason, think, and I don't know how anybody gets this from my marketing, because I'm very transparent about, like, you know, we're going to get you to 3 to 4K or 3 to 5K, you know, in 3 to 6 months. But you do have the potential of hitting that $10,000 a month. Will it take a little while? Absolutely. But is it possible? Absolutely. So with that being said, dude, I love that. So for everybody out there, take consistent action. Just do the stuff that you need to be doing. And that stuff is, because I know you guys are going to ask, 20 reach outs a day, minimum. If you do 20 reach outs a day, you're going to make money. That is a guarantee. And all you got to say, and this is just what I say on reach outs. I don't do them a lot because I have ads and stuff, but, you know, hey, I run a company that buys, you know, iPhones, MacBooks, smartwatches, cameras, VR headsets, game consoles, and more. If I could pay cash today, would you be willing to go any lower? That's all I ask. Straight up. I don't know if you do it any different. But
that's smooth. I love that, Chris.
I know, it's good, right? So that's what I started doing with pawn shops, right? Like, I just walk in. Hey, I'm here to buy stuff. Give me stuff, discount. Like, and they, sure enough, they would lead me over to the iPads that were passcode locked, but not iCloud locked, you know? So, you know, it's a win-win. But with that being said, guys, this is Aaron Goldsten again. You guys have seen him before. If you guys want more details on Resell Deck, you can click the link above this or below this if you're on YouTube. And if you want, you know, direct coaching from me and Aaron, I know, you know, phone flippers are adverse to courses and coaching, and that's totally fine. We have an awesome software that basically starts a business for you. You just got to put some things in and press go for the most part. And that's free for 14 days. Haha. So with that being said, guys, happy to have Aaron on here. And we'll have him on again, obviously, soon. But with that being said, Aaron, do you have anything else you'd want to say to the people watching? Or watching the replay?
Watching the replay? I would just say a quote from Layla Hermosi. She goes, "Why do you have to not feel fear in order to do something?" Because a lot of times in my life, I would feel fear and I would think that that'd be a reason not to do something, or that was a good excuse. Now I just do it anyway, right? And it could be with phones. I mean, it could be approaching a chick, right? I live here in Vegas, so I'm out at the clubs all the time. That's just like a quote that I love. Why do I have to not be afraid? Why do I have to have full conviction and confidence in order to do something? I can take the actions anyway, even if I'm afraid it's not going to work, even if I'm nervous, even if I'm fearful. And if I take the right actions, I'll get the right results eventually.
Love it. All right, well, guys, check out Resell Deck. The great thing about Resell Deck is it's good for people who are starting the business. It's great for people that have, a phone flipping business or a reselling business. It's also great for people that are looking to scale their business because let's be real, scaling is simply doing the fundamentals with more volume. And Resell Deck helps you do that. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this. You guys have a great day. Keep crushing it, and see you guys later.